What is up, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aliens alike. I'm doing a book review today of Charlie Robinson's inaugural book. It's a big one. It's a great one. The Octopus of Global Control is the title. There is the cover. Octopus with its tentacles over the globe and the USA flag behind it. Charlie Robinson blends the seriousness of these important topics and the respect they deserve with dark humor and sarcasm to allow the reader to laugh at the preposterous while grasping the importance of these lessons. The Octopus of Global Control is for those new to the world of conspiracy theories, or for people still on the fence about whether or not these events are actually real and connected. This is a controversial but funny nonfiction book detailing how those in positions of power are able to manipulate society for their benefit, why they believe that they are entitled to impose their warped worldview of reality on mankind, and how we can break free from their grip. The 8 tentacles of control that are wrapped around humanity are the military, governmental, covert, physical, financial, media, spiritual, and scientific. The book tackles topics such as uncovering the deep state, false flag terror events, the media's role in manufacturing wars, the 9/11 deception, the fraud of central banking, our broken educational system, the use of religion to shape society, and the corrupted medical industry. The Octopus of Global Control footnotes these important events by featuring quotes and firsthand observations from over 500 witnesses and participants that were involved in the most important events in our history. The words add context and help to paint the picture of these historic events by explaining who these people were, what they said, why it matters, and what actually happened. This is a great book. I really enjoy it. Charlie Robinson is a hilarious writer. He definitely makes me laugh several times throughout each chapter, even. Like he said, he combines dark humor and sarcasm with relaying these knowledge or this knowledge of these events and the topics, which are dark, as he said. And I really like the quotes that he adds as well. And he writes, he basically talks about this one Thanksgiving dinner that prompted his inspiration for writing this book. He says this book is dedicated to those seeking the truth about the world we live in spite of the ridicule from friends. To those who have ruined a Thanksgiving dinner by debating who the real villains were behind 9/11. To those that have been fitted for a straitjacket by your family. To those who contributed to my awakening. To those who inspired me. To those that educated me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Charlie Robinson. Table of contents, as you said, 8 chapters: military control, governmental, covert, physical, financial, media, spiritual, and scientific. And just a lot of great funny chapter names that he has in the book. They don't call her Killary for nothing. The original Dr. Evil, The War on War, is the first chapter in the military control section. Rico Suave, Agenda 2030, as Federal Express. Just a lot of great chapter title names. And the way he structures the book is like this, where he adds quotes in bold. See, there's a quote from George McGovern, former congressman. I'm fed up to the ears with old men dreaming up wars for young men to die in. Former congressman. So he does this supplemental quotation additions in bold to his own writing, which is like not in bold, right? And these are all quotes. Really great quotes. War does not determine who is right, only who is left. Bertrand Russell, philosopher and writer. That quote actually appears on Call of Duty games when you die sometimes. A world without nuclear weapons would be less stable and more dangerous for all of us. Margaret Thatcher. When all else fails, they take you to war. Gerald Celente, founder of the Trends Journal. And some really long quotes too, as well. And quotes about 9/11. I stopped being corner after about 20 minutes because there were no bodies there. Wallace Miller, coroner of Somerset County, Pennsylvania. He was among the first people to arrive at the alleged Flight 93 crash site on the morning of 9/11. Another event that is discussed in this book, which I hesitate to talk about, is a certain school shooting that happened in Connecticut. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. And that blew my mind insofar as I didn't know that was up for debate amongst people. Again, this is before I really started paying attention and diving deep into what was actually going on. As well, there's a picture of Charlie Robinson. He's a nice dude. He's from SoCal originally. He lives in Colorado now with his family. Used to work in Las Vegas. And the book that really opened his eyes to a lot of stuff that was going on was a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. So much so that when he went on vacation, he was scuba diving and he wanted to stop scuba diving to go and get back to reading his book, which I thought was very funny because I think everybody's, unfortunately not everybody, but a lot of people who like books, I think, are read. They really love that feeling and know that feeling. It's pretty rare when there's nothing else you want to do but get back to a certain book. Another quote, surveillance breeds conformity. Glenn Greenwald, journalist. This book, I believe I paid $24 for it on Amazon.com. This is a paperback. It's official. It's got the ISBN, International Serial Book Number, as well. There it is. If people want to look it up, they can do that. Otherwise, I will try to remember to link it in the description box. All of Charlie's links are in the description box as well. But I really enjoyed this book. Here's another one. George H.W. Bush. If the American people ever find out what we have done, they would chase us down the street and lynch us. George Herbert Walker Bush in 1992. Speaking to a journalist called Sarah McClendon. And he ties in a lot of history with this. World War II history, Vietnam history, general history of the United States and the wars we've been in, history of guys like Henry Kissinger. And this is Bernie Sanders' quote, actually. I happen to believe that Henry Kissinger was one of the most destructive secretaries of state in the modern history of this country. I'm proud to say that Henry Kissinger is not my friend. I will not take advice from Henry Kissinger, and in fact, Kissinger's actions in Cambodia, when the United States bombed that country, overthrew Prince Sihanouk, created the instability for Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge to come in, who then butchered some 3 million innocent people, was one of the worst genocides in the history of the world. So count me in as somebody who will not be listening to Henry Kissinger. Bernie Sanders, Senator. Christopher Hitchens, author, The Trial of Henry Kissinger. Kissinger should have had the door shut in his face by every decent person and should be shamed, ostracized, and excluded. No more dinners in his honor. No more respectful audiences for his absurdly overpriced public appearances. No more smirking photographs with hostesses and celebrities. No more soliciting of his worthless opinions by sycophantic editors and producers. Christopher Hitchens, the author of Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger quote, "It is an act of insanity and national humiliation to have a law prohibiting the president from ordering assassinations." Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State in 1975. So he's got almost a whole, basically a whole section. The original Dr. Evil, it's called. The illegal, we do immediately. The unconstitutional takes a little longer. Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State, March 10th, 1975. War is fought over futile and futile things. War is not about ideology, no matter how artfully framed, but it's simply about power and money and control. During the Vietnam War, Kissinger authorized and ordered 3.7 million tons of bombs to be dropped on Southeast Asia, an astounding amount of carnage even by World War II standards. Here's a quote from George Galloway, former MP in the United Kingdom. Henry Kissinger is the greatest living war criminal in the world today, with the blood of millions of people in Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos and Chile and East Timor on his hands. He will never appear in a court or be behind bars. George Galloway. Military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State. So there's actually more Kissinger quotes, believe it or not, and he really goes into a lot. Talks about Joseph Goebbels, Nazi minister of propaganda during the Third Reich, and the Georgia Guidestones as well. Yeah, which people don't know. I actually didn't know about this till this year. Georgia Guidestones are a collection of 5 large rectangular granite stones, 20 feet tall, erected in 1980, and have a message carved onto them with a list of 10 commandments for the New World Order. They're translated into 6 different languages. Mysterious group of eugenicists. Nobody is totally sure who put them there, but the stones claim to be the work of an R.C. Christian. There are 10 commandments, Georgia style. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. We are way beyond that. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with a tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Although the majority of the 10 items aren't that strange or unreasonable, there is one part of that is unsettling, especially if you who are proficient in math. Oh my gosh. So for someone to accomplish this goal of reducing or maintaining the world population to 500 million people, the current population at the time of his writing, which is, I think it's at 8 billion now, 7 and 1/4 billion, excuse me, 1/8 billion, by more than 6.5 billion people. So this book is like an encyclopedia of just great quotes, a lot of history that people aren't aware of, and it really goes into many of the biggest events as far as conspiracy theories go, such as the Newtown shooting, Sandy Hook, 9/11, the Vietnam War, World War II, even to a certain extent. Talks about the 1033 program, the war on terror, big media in general. Conspiracy theorists, science. Henry Kissinger, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan's administration, JFK. This is a great quote by JFK. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. John F. Kennedy, former President of the United States. The evolution of gunpowder. Got a George Carlin quote. It is interested in its own power. That's the only thing. The government only wants to keep and expand it whenever possible. David Icke quote. Humans are so funny, so much moralizing about words, while at the same time thinking it perfectly moral to pepper bomb cities full of people to protect them from violence. David Icke, remember who you are. So I would say for anybody interested in conspiracy theories, this is essential reading. It really is. Charlie Robinson basically started a second career as being an author, primarily motivated by this conversation he had at the Thanksgiving table, where basically a bunch of his family kind of ganged up on him and said whatever. And that was a huge inspiration and motivation for him to put this whole book together. I actually did a conversation with Charlie Robinson on my channel if people want to check it out. About 2 hours. Great conversation. He's actually been, I think, my most requested person to interview, to re-talk to him. So I'm going to hit him up very soon and see if he wants to chat again. I would highly recommend people check this out if you are interested in conspiracy theories, in history, alternative history, the truth, what's going on. If you don't trust the government and the media and what they have told you about all these events that have happened. I didn't even get to a fraction of everything that's in this book. So I would encourage people to, I didn't even cover anything with the banking. Talks about central banking, the Rothschilds, and religion as well, and the effect of religion on society, and how religion is used to control people, much like the military, science, and the like. So what would my rating be? I would say this is essential reading for anybody interested in any of those things that I just discussed. What is actually going on? Government accountability, media accountability, new media, old media, legacy media. We the people of these United States, bound and protected by the Constitution of the Republic, which is largely a farce at this point in time. That being said, you can help an awesome author out and a patriot. His name is Charlie Robinson. And read it and just check it out. I'm actually going to I think share some of these quotes. Look at this. This just makes me think of what's going on today. Demoralize the enemy from within by surprise, terror, sabotage, assassination. This is the war of the future. Adolf Hitler, public speaker. Oh, there's a quote from Robert David Steele in here, too. I was a CIA spy, and under orders, I fabricated intelligence. I lied to government leaders, and I managed a modest false flag operation. Nobody died. This is what the CIA does. Anyways, I could go on and on with this stuff. Check it out. Essential reading for any of those people interested in this stuff. If you watch CNN, if you believe CNN, if you believe what Fox News is telling you every single night, this is not the book for you. If you're voting for Joe Biden, this is probably not the book for you either. Although I would encourage anybody voting for Joe Biden to read it and just to think about what actually may be going on. The Octopus of Global Control. Charlie Robinson, Addy. Addy Ad's doing a book review. This is Ad's book reviews, The Octopus of Global Control. Please support Charlie. 25, 24 bucks on Amazon. You can also get the ebook Kindle for much cheaper as well. Give Charlie a follow on Twitter and check out his website too. I put all of his links in the description box below. He's got an awesome podcast that I listen to. Probably my favorite podcast intro on the internet right now is Macroaggressions with Charlie Robinson. So check that out too. He has a bunch of great guests on his podcast. And like I said, I'm going to try to get him back on mine. Stay frosty. Have a great Saturday. I'm broadcasting to you live from the Shrimp Castle here in Buffalo, New York. This is Addy Ads. Until next time. See you later, Patriots.